Sherlock Holmes, born William Sherlock Scott Holmes, is the world's only consulting detective, a profession which he created for himself. Much like his fabricated profession, Sherlock himself and the many stories and characters in his world are all fictional creations from the mind of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And you may ask, why are the Bear and the Beard doing an episode about some book character from the 1800s? The response is simple. Sir Conan Doyle's works, much like many literary adventures, have not remained on the page, but instead evolved to inspire cartoons, films, and TV shows. His influence can even be found in other fictional works and characters, like the Batman. We'll get into that later. So, on this episode, we grab our magnifying glasses, put on our deerstalker hats, and make sure Watson is in tow as we delve into the many works about and inspired by Sherlock Holmes.
The game, Mrs. Hudson, is on.
Season 3, Episode 6, Sherlock 101, an elementary episode, starts right after this. Please stand by.
Hey, listen!
This is the Bear and the Beard Podcast, Season 3.
Hello there.
Your hosts are just two nerdy guys, talking nerdy things.
That's quite nerdy.
This Nerdtastic Duo sits down every episode, sometimes with friends and guests, to explore a new topic related to nerd or pop culture.
Oh, yeah!
They may disagree or argue sometimes, and you may not always agree with them.
I beg your pardon.
But please remember, this show is mostly their opinion with some research and facts added in along the way.
To be fair. To be fair.
The overall goal is to spread knowledge and love throughout the fandoms and to have fun doing it. Welcome to the conversation. Let's get nerdy with it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to, or to for the first time, the Bear and the Beard Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, the Bear. I'm joined, as always, by my majestically bearded, faithful co-host, Bearded Brian Guy, the Beard. Brosius Mayo, my guy. Oh, I think the Beard forgot to unmute.
Yes, I did. I'm doing great. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Looking forward to SciFiCon, which, as this episode is released, is happening right now. So if you're in the Lake Charles, Louisiana area, come by and find us at SciFiCon. A bunch of celebrities are going to be there. It's anime, it's sci-fi. It's going to be great. We're doing another raffle for Children's Mississippi Hospital. We love them so much. And I think it's going to be a great time. We're going to be hanging out there, or I am going to be hanging out there with Ori from the Voice of Geeky Vengeance podcast and her other Geeky Vengeance Revengers is the name of their people. So yeah, I think it's going to be really fun. That's going on right now. Got some panels planned out, at the time of recording. It's going to be great, but we are here today to talk about, it's Sherlock Holmes. If you listen to the intro.
It's elementary.
Right. We did a little hint, because I was actually listening to the Batman versus Sherlock Holmes epic rap battle, which if you haven't checked those out, please do so. Epic rap battles of history.
They're a little repetitive after a while, but
yeah,
if you've never watched them before, definitely watch some of your favorite characters rap battle.
Oh yeah. But Sherlock is the topic today. We actually had this pitch, and I do sincerely apologize because I do not remember when we brought it up. I do know that it was sent by a person calling themselves Mycroft. Wanted us to do an episode all about Sherlock himself. So we're doing it now. And if that's you, hit us up. Let us know so we can give you some credit. We just decided we're pushing Batman. Batman's 2 weeks from now. So definitely come back.
But Bear's finally seen it.
But I've finally seen it, yes. But in the meantime, we wanted to talk about, we were just talking about how great it would be to do a Sherlock episode because Sherlock kind of inspired Batman, and we'll get into that later. So stick around toward the end of the episode for that one. But Sherlock is the topic today. We're not just talking the TV show. We're not just talking the books. We're not just talking the movies. We're talking a little bit of all of it. And let's go ahead and get into it with Mama Bear's Fun Facts.
I don't get paid enough. I don't get paid, period.
And now it's time for Mama Bear's Fun Facts.
That's it. That's all I know.
All right. I need to get back on my other screen here. Where's my screen? There's my screen.
Yeah, me too. I'm fixing my screens.
All right. If you will give us the little jiffy gifs, I will run these down. Oh, we said we were going to do the little pop music for her because it just sounds kind of like Mama Bear a little bit.
You would know.
Yeah, there it is.
Find little things. So she's got 5 fun facts for us this time?
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
All right.
And again, to our viewers and listeners, we're still trying to get used to StreamYard. So please bear with us.
And also, bear with me, bear.
Right.
I'm feeling still a little under the weather, so you may see my camera go off, blowing my nose and stuff. Y'all don't need to see that stuff.
Right. So definitely bear with us because we're trying to keep the editing down as much as possible, which means we are also going to try to watch
language.
So,
yeah.
Because
For gosh sake, watch your language. That's not going away anytime soon.
No, it's not, Cap. It's not going away anytime soon. We are going to try to watch our language so that we don't have. But if we do mess up, we do apologize. Actually, that reminds me, our number one, like she's tied for number one fan, with Greg. Jenna is gonna come see me at CypherCon, so that should be fun.
Nice.
That should be really fun. She's the whole reason, like, we decided to start trying to either bleep them or just not curse at all. So,
Absolutely.
All right, let's break it down. Fun fact number 1. Did you know, bearded brother of mine, that Sherlock Holmes was actually inspired by a real life person?
Really?
Yeah, he a teacher, as a matter of fact. Conan Doyle was so inspired by Mr. Dr. Joseph Bell, a lecturer at the University of Edinburgh, who could diagnose patients on sight. This is what led him to base Sherlock's skills of perception off of him.
That's very interesting because he's a teacher, so it's elementary.
Well, and I've always thought that Sherlock was teaching Watson a good bit throughout all the forms of media. So definitely. Did you want to give us fun fact number 2 there?
I would like to give us fun fact number 2. So fun fact number 2, Sherlock's first adventure wasn't actually very popular. A Study in Scarlet was rejected by several publishers and wound up being printed in Beaton's Christmas Annual, which was not a success.
Wow. And it's hilarious because this was like back in the 1800s, or
Yeah.
well, and we're still talking about him in 2022. So it's amazing.
Something that didn't catch on at first is catching on a big time.
Well, and another side, this isn't one of the fun facts, but another side note of that is that Conan Doyle actually only wrote about Sherlock, I think, for like 2 years or something like that is how long it took. I might be wrong on that, but he wrote about Sherlock for a certain amount of time. And then finally said, you know what? I'm bored. I don't think I want to do this anymore. Said that it took his mind away from other things. So, and we all know how Sherlock doesn't like to get distracted. So.
This is true. We
Let's
want to
move
give
on
us fun fact number 3.
Yeah, fun fact number 3. So, did you know that Sherlock Holmes is actually the most popular human film character?
Really?
As of 2021, Mr. Holmes has been in 226 films. And the non-human most popular character, Dracula, has been in 239.
Just so close to
Right?
that mark. Also, so as many films as he's been in, he's also has a pretty good length with fun fact number 4. Length in time, at least. He's also been in film for more than 100 years, with the first silent film feature being Sherlock Holmes Baffled, being made in 1900.
Wow. And see, that's still like way after the books. So, I mean, this
a lot of
transcending time.
A lot of books for a lot of years.
Right. Last fun fact here. I just, when Mama Bear and me were trying to come up with fun facts, we thought this one was interesting. In the 1969 Oxford-Cambridge chess match, Oxford players called Watson and Holmes both actually won their games. So
Really?
Watson and Holmes good at chess. So,
Hmm.
which is funny because I think they play chess in a few of the books and television shows and stuff like that. But thank you, Mama Bear, for those fun facts. As always, we appreciate those, and we hope those start a little bit of discussion. We do have our topics for today. The first one is the man, the myth, the detective.
The detective. And this detective has come in many different forms, of course. We've seen comedy versions of him with Will Ferrell, which, by the way, I got to say, I watched the first 25 minutes of that.
Mm-hmm.
And Sherlock is still smart, but he's an idiot in the most Will Ferrell fashion you can imagine.
And I love that for the little photo, you called them buffoon Holmes and Watson.
They're a bunch of buffoons. He still
great.
does that little
This mustn't register on an emotional level.
Oh, really?
That slowdown thing. He does that, but he calculates killing a fly with a bat, and he gets it right, but not right enough because the glass still cracks.
Wow. That is
so they
hilarious.
quote that movie. It's hilarious. Will Ferrell is a comedy genius in my opinion.
I really do. I've me personally, I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan, and that's not to say I dislike any of his stuff. I've seen Step Brothers. It took me a few watches to actually think that it wasn't cringy, but I do enjoy some of the comedy that comes from it. So Talladega Nights is still probably one of my favorite comedy movies ever, though. So it's and I love those
Baby Jesus from a smoking hot wife,
right? You did have a clip from that one too.
Oh yes, I did. I love that we got these little clips now with
yes.
You had to edit them in, but now we can just show them. There was one from the movie. Actually, here it is.
He's a master of disguise.
What have you done with Sherlock? Why, Watson?
I never left.
They are a comedy duo, I swear.
They really are.
A little bit of a spoiler, because I know you haven't seen it, but I'm going to spoil it anyways, because it's a Will Ferrell movie. Moriarty's let go right at the beginning by Will Ferrell.
Really?
Because although he's a genius, he's also a moron.
Right.
So he creates this whole delusion in his mind that this isn't actually Moriarty and convinces the judge, and he walks free.
Wow. That's hilarious. So I love Sherlock. I loved Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock. I love the show, which I hate that Netflix took it off. I don't know why that happened. I loved Enola Holmes. I thought that movie was fantastic.
So good.
Yeah. Henry Cavill coming in as Sherlock. Come on.
Okay.
I have a picture of the three most, these three that we just mentioned, other than Will Ferrell, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, Henry Cavill,
I had no idea going into that movie that he was going to be in it. I was just going in for the lady from Stranger Things, 11.
Yeah.
She plays Enola. I love
Enola.
her as an actress, so I went in and watched the movie, and Henry Cavill walks on screen as Sherlock. I'm like, this movie just got so much better.
Right? And I can never remember the actor's name that actually played his brother in that movie, old Mycroft, but I've seen him in other stuff. He's very, very good as well. Now, but that movie didn't focus on him. But I mean, we're talking about a character. Now, Enola Holmes, they had to get special permission from Sir Conan Doyle's family to make that movie. Yes, because it had to do with the main continuity of Sherlock. So they had to get permission to do it. There was some talk about it not getting done at first. But I guess obviously they changed their mind because the movie got made. They're even talking about doing a sequel.
A sequel's coming out this year. They haven't released a specific date, but I would guess sometime in the summer.
Oh yeah, most likely. And I mean, this character is also. I mean, Sherlock himself. He's even hung out with Scooby and Shaggy before.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's probably the second time. I think that happened multiple times in the cartoon over the different variations.
I feel like you just unlocked a core childhood memory that I forgot I had.
No, look, you want to talk about core childhood memories. You might not remember this, but I did. And I went and grabbed a little bit of the theme song here. All of our listeners and viewers, tell me how many of y'all remember this show right here, this little gem.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So basic plot of that, Moriarty and Sherlock are both cryogenically frozen. Moriarty gets unfrozen in the 22nd century, and this detective of the current police force thinks, well, the best way to catch him is to unfreeze Sherlock Holmes. And so he gets unfrozen in the 22nd century. They build a robot that they put like a fake face on, and it's programmed with all of Watson's memories to be his Watson.
Interesting.
It's actually, it's only one season long, and you can watch it on YouTube, which is where I found that. Go and check it out. I remember it from when I was like, oh god, man, I had to have been like 6 or 7. So it's way back there.
Huh. That is crazy. Yeah, I never grew up watching that. So
yeah. But I mean, we had like we said, we had the Sherlock, which we talked about the show Sherlock in our binge-worthy TV shows.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. I don't think we got to everything we wanted to talk to.
No, definitely not. One of the gems of that show, I know he's probably one of your favorites, is old Moriarty.
Oh yeah, this guy right here with the slick suits. Look at him. He knows he's all that.
If you had to pick a favorite just Sherlock medium that you've seen out of the ones you've seen, like what would be like your go-to for, like, if you were telling someone that has never heard of Sherlock Holmes before, which I don't know how that's possible, for them to experience Sherlock Holmes, where would you tell them to start?
I would actually say with the Sherlock show from the BBC.
Yeah.
I think that it actually takes real stories, but it modernizes it. And I love when shows do that. One of my favorite versions of Romeo and Juliet is actually the Leonardo DiCaprio version, where they took the exact Romeo and Juliet script, but just put it in modern days. They're still holding like a gun, but they'll say sword because that's what's in the script. And it almost feels like they did something similar to that, except for they changed the dialogue for modern days.
Right. And of course, Sherlock had like actual, like modern day, things going on with him and everything. And that's not even the first time they've done that. There was also the show Elementary, which had,
I never did get into this
actor. I didn't really either. I watched, I think at least one season. Huh?
I think my mom got into it.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Now, what was really interesting about that modernization was we had a female Watson. It was Joan Watson.
I like that though.
Yeah, no, and she's a great actress. But that was really interesting for them to even do that take. It was like, okay, we're going to modernize it. But the difference being in the two shows, Elementary takes place in New York City. Sherlock, it's modern day, but Sherlock has moved to New York, instead of staying in London like he does in the Sherlock show that was on Netflix. And if any of y'all know where we can find that for free to watch, let us know, because I'd love to watch it again.
You could let Bear know. I feel like the being set in New York is what ruins it for me.
Yeah, Elementary did take that little bit of a getting used to, but there again, and we haven't talked about this. We've talked about it a little bit. Lucifer, taking place in a big city. That's one of that's a TV element thing, to take a character that's not supposed to be here and put them in New York City. I'd swear it's a trope, and I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I just wish
it's interesting.
I just wish that Lucifer or Elementary took place in the Blue Bloods universe. I think that'd be very interesting. Just to see Tom Selleck staring down the TV version of Sherlock Holmes. I think that would be hilarious. But yeah, man. So we talked about the legend himself and just kind of how cool he is. We, the fun facts let you know how long he's been around and everything like that. Let's get on to our second one, and we kind of talked about this a little bit. Recent outings of Sherlock and Watson.
Yes, Enola Holmes. Have you seen if they released any trailer for the second one?
No, if there is one, I haven't found it yet. But when we do, we'll share it to the page. Check
Absolutely. Enola Holmes, I thought was a very interesting take because it still had a Sherlock story, and Sherlock was still inserted in it. So you can still say it's a recent outing, but it focuses on the unknown younger sister, Enola, which, to my knowledge, that's an original. Story
she's an original character. Sherlock never had a sister in any of the original Sir Arthur Conan Doyle works,
and I didn't believe so. But it's such an interesting take, and I love it. And I can never remember that actress's name from Stranger Things and Enola, but she just kills that character. And obviously, it's another Sherlock character. She's very observant, but she also has other gifts that make her unique in her own right.
And the fact that their mom was played by Miss Carter from like Harry Potter and other works. She's great, and just that sold it for me too. But Henry Cavill, like you said, as soon as Henry Cavill steps on the screen and that's Sherlock, and Enola's doing the voiceover of explaining who Sherlock is, it's also kind of set kind of early on in his career.
I believe so too. Yes.
So that's going to be really.
He's popular already, though.
Right.
Everyone knows the name, but they don't respect her because she's just the unknown sister.
Right.
You're not Sherlock. We want Sherlock to be here. He's the big brother, but no, she's the one that's got the stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And then there was the Holmes and Watson, which I am going to give that a shot. Before that, it was Sherlock, the show from Netflix, which love that. Love those two together. So glad that they're in the MCU now. Like they've been
together in a few things.
Yeah,
they were both in The Hobbit. One was Smog and one was the other, The Hobbit. I'm not a Hobbiter person.
Oh, dude! As soon as you said that, the image of Benedict Cumberbatch crawling around on the floor in the motion capture suit, pretending to be Smog, just popped instantly into my brain.
I wish we preloaded that into StreamYard.
I do too, because I didn't even think about it. Like, yes, they have been in that together, and
it was such an awkward moment. Like
it really was. Aren't normal people adorable? No, Benedict Cumberbatch being extraordinary people is adorable. For those of y'all that haven't figured it out yet, this is probably going to be a quick episode, and it's going to be very laid back. We're pretty much just
saying that we love Sherlock.
It's a great show. And
this is really a lead up to what we really want to talk about. And is it in our topics, the comparisons?
How Sherlock influences today's stories is kind of where I wanted to bring that up. That is a topic that we're going to get to. Our favorite Sherlock moments. Let's get into that next topic.
So that actually brings me into wanting to talk about Robert Downey Jr.'s take, which honestly, it's been a while since I've watched those movies, but of course they have iconic scenes. And he is fantastic in that role.
Oh, yeah.
He's fantastic in every role. And I love that we played a little bit of it earlier with that slow down scene where he's calculating the fight.
Oh, blind jab. Counter with cross to left cheek. Discombobulated.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite Sherlock moments because it's showing that even in the midst of a fight when your adrenaline's pumping, he's still analyzing every tiny moment to prevent his loss.
And
he's going to win.
He's predicting, because that whole scene is he's predicting what's going to happen, and then he does exactly what he thought he was going to do because he could predict so well that man's reaction. And he does that, I think, once or twice in that film, and he does it at least once in the second one. And it was just so very well done.
It was a fantastic scene. What's some of your favorite moments from Robert Downey Jr.'s take?
So from the two, and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, I love a good story, but I also love it when I find out things about the movies. So my favorite thing that really came from the movies was finding out that a lot of the stuff was practical, like the stunts and the visual effects. The my favorite scene from those movies is when they're running through the woods and the bullets are flying, but it's like it slows down every time one gets close to them or impacts a tree. A lot of that was practical. They blew up actual like models and stuff to get those shots. So that was pretty interesting. But that was probably the second movie was probably my favorite of Robert Downey Jr.'s, mostly because of the cast. This is when we see, Downey's Sherlock having to deal with the fact that Watson is no longer living in his apartment and stuff like that. So sad. What does he say? Give me problems, give me work. He seemed like a broken puppy.
He's one of those people, he's too prideful to admit that he needs John, because he's like, I'm Sherlock, I don't need anyone, I'm smart. Right. But he needs John. And deep down he knows it.
Oh yeah. Robert is probably Robert, listen to me. Not just because of the same first name basis, but Robert Downey Jr. is probably my favorite Sherlock. There are instances that I thought that the TV show did very well, and in relation, technically better than the movie, but it's because it's a TV show. They can explore more things in more detail.
This is
like,
true, yeah.
I think almost every episode of Sherlock is loosely based on one of the original stories.
Oh, yes.
Which they couldn't do. They tried to jam a bunch of different stories into Robert Downey Jr.'s movies, or at least little pieces. So, but he's definitely my favorite Sherlock. And like I said, the favorite moment from Junior's is just, I guess, that beginning where he seems so lost without his Watson.
And that kind of got into the darker side of some of his addictions, which don't know what YouTube flagged, so I don't want to get too much into saying specifics about that. But in the show, they took that as a cigarette.
Right.
That was the addiction that he struggled with.
The nicotine addiction. Yeah, I remember that.
I think it's cool that we have two Sherlocks that were both in the MCU. And the common thing I see on the internet is one of the things they wanted to be said between them is one of the no Sherlock.
Yeah. And I love that the Russo brothers finally came out and said that they just thought that would have been too meta for them.
Too meta.
It would have only been funny to the viewer. It wouldn't have been funny it wouldn't have made sense for those characters to say that to each other. Yeah.
It's pretty much what they said.
And I can agree with that to a point.
Absolutely.
I still think it would have been funny. I think Goatee Bros would have been cool too if they could have done that, both of them. But hey,
So there's a lot of favorite moments that I had from the show. Did you have any?
Yes. But while we're on the subject, both Watsons are also in the MCU. The movie version.
True.
Yeah, Jude Law is in Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Jude Law. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I just thought about that.
Disney is collecting all the Sherlock actors.
Well, the BBC wouldn't let Benedict be the Doctor, so they made him a doctor.
I still have hopes for the future.
It might happen. It might happen. You never know. But from the TV show, I just thought A Study in Pink, which I know that's the first episode, but it was probably my favorite moment because it's that meeting of John and Sherlock. He doesn't really know much about him. In the books, that's also one of my favorite because I've listened to the collection of stories, which actually, while we're on that subject as well, this gentleman right here who played Mycroft in the second movie, Stephen Fry, actually did the narration on Audible of the Sherlock collection. He is a huge Sherlock fan. Huge. Like, if he knew that this episode existed, he might check it out just for the fact that it's Sherlock based. So
I'm going to say something that may be fighting words to some people. I think almost everyone is a Sherlock fan in some way or another, whether it's a variation of something based on Sherlock or Sherlock itself.
Right. They just don't know it yet.
Because Doctor Who has a lot of stuff. Oh, yeah. Sometimes the way the Doctor acts and the way he analyzes stuff is very Sherlocky. And they even make some pun jokes about that a few times.
You know what would be really funny is if the Doctor, like, since BBC owns both of those television shows, if the Doctor met Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock.
You're way late than the internet. The internet's been wanting this for so long.
Well, I was also behind
They
on-
also want Supernatural, and it's actually a whole. Look it up. Super Who Locked. That's the
Who Locked.
Supernatural, Sherlock, and Doctor Who. There's also a really cool fan-made video of Sherlock stepping into the TARDIS and being greeted by Matt Smith's Doctor. And if you haven't seen the scenes that they're all based on, it's actually really good editing. It looks like he stepped into the TARDIS. It looks like he's wondrous about it. And the memes about it too, just John Watson's mind just being blown to smithereens. This doesn't make any sense. Bigger on the inside. Yeah, the internet's way ahead of you on that one, Bear. But yes,
that doesn't surprise me. There, I can spit all the facts I want, and the fan base is just going to be looking at me like, "What are you, Wikipedia?"
This is true. This is true.
Like, this is already out there, Bear. Shut up. Like, all right, well,
no,
whatever.
because then the conversation's back up again, and maybe we can get some more fan-made stuff.
Exactly. We do need more fan-made stuff. But yeah, Study in Pink, probably my favorite, because it's them getting to know each other. It's the first case. It is based very loosely on A Study in Scarlet, which was, as we mentioned in the fun facts, the first ever publication that featured Sherlock. If not that one, I feel like it's a tie though, because the Hound of the Baskervilles episode was amazing. So that and the first episode probably tied for me.
See, for me, it's you've watched most of Sherlock, right?
Yeah, I've seen it all at least twice.
I have not seen the fourth season, but it's not on Netflix anymore. But the season where he jumps off the building, and then there's that hiatus between the two seasons after he jumped, but we know he survived because he showed up at the funeral. And all the theories online of how could he have survived, and technically the show never answered. So this gets to where I'm answering the question. In the first episode of the season, they never answer why he survived. They gave like 4 or 5 jump scenes to ways he could have survived it. And that is my favorite Sherlock moment. Like, all of these theories that you guys have for how he could have survived, any one of them could have been the right one. Because that's how Sherlock works.
Yeah, and then at the end of the episode, he is explaining how he survived to the what was it, the forensic analyst or whatever. And he's like, but wait, that doesn't make any sense because this and this and this. And even if that is how you did it, why would you tell me? And it's like, they never technically answered exactly how. They just gave you some believable scenarios.
And he gave one, but he could have been BSing him because he hates Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson. While we're but yeah, that's what was one of your favorite other than that?
There's a couple moments. A lot of Moriarty moments were my favorite, and one that comes to mind is a clip you actually put in. I'll play that real quick.
Oh yeah.
In a world of locked rooms, the man with the key is king, and honey, you should see me in a crown.
Just yes.
I love him so much.
Outlook. All right. Because we're going to get into characters now, obviously, because that's where this is heading. I want to pull up what do we call this one? Oh yeah, the characters around the legend. So I just want to say this. I love this actor so much that played Moriarty in the second movie, but he is nowhere near my favorite Moriarty. I'm sorry, but this guy right here from the Sherlock show, just his level of energy that he had every time. I feel like I can almost guarantee you he was the Anthony Mackie of the Sherlock show. I don't have any fact on that. That's just a theory, but I feel like it's one of those, like, it's a rumor or it's a fact, quote unquote, that you can believe is true. We also had the other Mycroft from Sherlock, great actor, did a very good job.
I think he's either a director or producer or something on the show itself too, and he's worked on Doctor Who as well. One of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who he was in, He played a guy that the doctor accidentally brought out of time, and it was a whole crazy episode.
Oh,
Great
wow.
actor. Very big on the BBC.
Yeah, funny thing about that, this was going to be one of the fun facts, but we figured we'd talk about it, while we were talking about characters. Mycroft only actually shows up in 2 stories in the original works.
Really?
He only ever shows up twice. Very interesting to see how that character has kind of evolved along with the character of Sherlock over the years and wasn't just left behind because he was only mentioned twice. Find that very interesting.
I need to finish watching Holmes and Watson with Will Ferrell because I wonder if they have a Mycroft in that one.
Ooh, that would be interesting to find out. I know they did one for Elementary too. They featured him in like 1 or 2 episodes. I can't remember. Then we had Irene, old Adler, the thief. This on screen here is the Robert Downey Jr. version, and then the Sherlock version, which actually, they kind of look alike. That was a typecast, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you had to, or it might have just been the style of the hair and the, whatever. But yeah, Irene Adler, and then the Watsons. Of course, we've already been over those. So, other than Sherlock, and I'm only saying that because they're technically all main characters. This is one of those kind of like the Eternals. We had so many main characters. Sherlock is the main character, but the books are all told from John Watson's perspective.
Really?
So, yeah.
Like he's analyzing the way that Sherlock works.
He is essentially the narrator of all of Sherlock's stories. There was an episode that they did in Sherlock. It was the one where they I think it was the Abominable Bride or something like that, where they did a back in time setting.
Oh yes,
that was
one of the
one
of the 2 times that we actually got to see the mustache.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a picture of the one from that one, but this is a pretty good look for Mr. John.
Mary
Watson
likes it.
Mary likes it,
and then it turns out Mary does not like it. But yeah, so the funny thing is that in that episode we see that Watson is writing the stories and putting them into the newspaper. That's how Sir Arthur Conan Doyle did it to start. Like we saw, the story itself wasn't published, except it was put in an annual, which is essentially, I'm guessing, a newspaper that only comes out once a year. I'm not sure on that. If we have any British listeners, let us know. Because we can't get everything right. We actually can't get a lot right when it comes to the UK. But
I did a quick search and I'm not finding a Mycroft in the Holmes and Watson.
They might not have done one, but so that was that's how he did it. He put it into the newspapers as if Watson was like giving you an update on the most recent case. In the show, it was more of the online blog.
Yes,
that Watson.
I forgot
did.
about that. That was great.
But that's how the actual literary versions of Sherlock are told, is all from Watson's perspective. He's narrating them as if he's writing about his friend Sherlock. So it was very interesting to see that come to life in all the forms that it ever has, and very well done, I have to say.
He puts up with a lot with Sherlock, though. Sherlock is a very unstable person.
Right?
I mean, any roommate you have, you come home to something like this.
What the hell are you doing?
Bored.
What? Bored. No.
Bored.
Bored. I do have to say that I love that is also an audio that we did on TikTok together way back when.
That video exists somewhere. We might post it somewhere on our story
if we can find it. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about a guy that would move stuff, like he would intentionally forget stuff to make room for what he called important knowledge, to the point where in one of the books it's explained, I don't know if they ever did it in the shows or the movies, but they explained that Sherlock doesn't know that the earth revolves around the sun. because it's not pertinent information to his profession. He doesn't need to know that. It's just like breathing. You don't need to know how to breathe. You just do it. So it's knowledge like that he just kind of pushes so far back in his brain. And we see that in the show where he's like, I had to delete something. It's very, very crazy. And Watson puts up with a lot.
And he also puts a stone around his emotions. And in the comedy movie, they actually had a whole scene where he was actually sucking back up a tear as a child.
I love it. Funny. Yeah, no, I definitely got to watch that movie, man. Like, for real.
It is free to watch on Tubi if anyone is interested.
Yeah, Tubi. I can't wait till we get some sponsors.
We'll say stuff like that, and it'll matter.
Right. It's like, well, we have a firm grasp on the obvious. But yeah, and that's where we'll because by then, like once we get sponsors and stuff, people will be like, all right, when's the ad gonna start? Oh man.
Do we want to talk about how Sherlock influences today's story?
Yes. All right. So this was a whole conversation, and we're gonna talk about this again when we do our Batman episode, because Jay had some thoughts on this as well. Old Nerd Squatch couldn't be with us on this episode, unfortunately. So after I saw the Batman and we were talking about doing a Sherlock Holmes episode anyway, me and Beard and Jay all got into our chat and we were like, who is what? Like, do all the characters translate? And they do. And we want to hear your input on this, dear listener or viewer. So the list we kind of came up with, now this is not for the movie The Batman. That's slightly different. I'll run that down real quick. In that one, like in everything else, Batman, Bruce Wayne, is Sherlock Holmes.
Absolutely.
His
John Watson's changed sometimes.
Right.
But, yeah.
His John Watson changes sometimes. In the Batman, his Watson was Gordon.
Absolutely.
Because it was like
right-hand guy.
Yeah.
His
like a buddy cop movie. As always, in every form of media, Catwoman is Irene Adler. For sure. The thief that tries to do good can only be stopped by him, is in love with him.
The untrustworthy ally. That's the best description I've heard of those kind of characters.
Yeah. The Joker, in every instance that we can think of, is Moriarty.
Moriarty. Insane, just wants to prey on Sherlock or Batman.
And look, when we were talking about that, I didn't think about it, but Moriarty in the Sherlock show acts a lot like Joker does toward Batman, toward Sherlock. It's just, you completely...
That changes so many castings, like fan castings in my mind. He needs to play a Joker in something.
Oh, don't even get me started. I would love that. And we figured out that now the Watson changing sometimes, this is not in the Batman movie, but in every other instance we can think of, is whoever his sidekick is at the time. Whether it be, Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Jason Todd, Damian, they're always Watson because they're learning from Bruce.
This will blow your mind a little bit. In the Injustice game, Harley Quinn is Watson.
Ooh,
that's weird to think about.
That is weird to think
the most
about.
Unstable Watson ever.
And if you haven't watched the animated movie Batman and Harley Quinn, please go check that out. It's on HBO Max. It is hilarious. They use the same
Mrs.
animation
Hudson,
style.
Alfred.
Well, see, and I always thought in some ways he is, but in some ways he's also like Mycroft. He's the older, the one that trained him to be him, helps him solve some puzzles that just right there out of reach.
I feel like it's specifically the Ra's al Ghul from Christopher Nolan's Batman could fit into the Mycroft role as well.
Yes. Yeah. It depends on what variation, but only a few of them are like across the board blanket, same. Some of them change depending on the story arc. But yeah, so, and that's not even the only time, like we just got on that tangent because I just watched the Batman, but it's so interesting to see what else the character of Sherlock has inspired. I mean, dude, think about this. Think about all the shows that we watch on TV where the dude is super smart. and has to figure out something for House. Tell me Dr. House isn't inspired by Sherlock Holmes.
There's a lot of characters in moments that have been like Sherlock in Scrubs.
True.
Like they've all had their little Sherlock moments. Of course, with a comedy show that can actually really push that to the edge.
Definitely. And then other comic book characters like John Constantine, to me, feels like a mystical version of Sherlock Holmes.
I never thought of that. That is actually a very good point.
He's always got a spell at the ready. He knows so much about that supernatural world. I mean, Dean and Sam are even a little Sherlock Holmesy.
For the supernatural side, yeah.
Yeah.
Sherlock-like characters. I'm actually Googling, seeing if the
like characters inspired by Sherlock.
That's not working at all. Google does not understand what I'm asking it.
But yeah, and across the board, there's tons. Like there are probably a lot more examples than we can even think of. Like if you really think about it, that's what we challenge you to do this episode, dear listener or viewer. Go and try to figure out whether like the whole 6 degrees of separation of how your favorite character, fictional or fictional in TV, fictional in comic books, how they might have been inspired by Sherlock Holmes at some point.
That's a good challenge.
But and talking about things for this episode, I think that's going to be it. Why don't we wrap it up with some Talk Nerdy?
That sounds great.
Let's
do some Talking Nerdy. If I can find the thingy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Each episode, the Bear and the Beard ask a question that they want your input on, along with sharing comments, suggestions, and other things they have already collected. They love to hear from their fans, so let's get nerdy with it.
All right. So, and as it says in the intro, we do really like to hear from y'all. I don't feel like we hear from y'all enough. So this is a call to action. Send us your stuff. Send us your, now that con season's back up and running, send us your photos of you in your cosplay. Let's feature it on an episode. Send in your ideas about this. Send in your ideas about something else. It doesn't have to be this. Just send it in, please. We'd love to hear from y'all. We only had one response to the favorite quote from Peacemaker, and that was actually that we asked you in our Peacemaker episode. Nerd Squatch's mom, Miss Kimberly, she actually said that she agreed with Beard that there's never a wrong time to rock.
That is a great quote.
Favorite quote. It is a great quote.
And if you answer these in the future, we can talk about your answers for past episode topics in future episodes as well. So you can still answer these questions. Just look them up.
Oh, I never did get the Talk Nerdy thing up for this week. Let me get that real quick.
Transition.
Oh my god.
I had to.
I still love that that's my voice. Did anyone know that? Did y'all know that that's my voice?
All of them are your voice. You do a lot of these.
I did just get it. I gotta upload it real quick. But it is our Talking Nerdy question for this week, at least, is going to be, get it up on here. Boom. There it is. What was your favorite Sherlock case?
Whew.
So I listen to all the books. So, but that's not all, like, and we're talking about all forms of media. If your favorite case was when Sherlock had to help the Mystery Inc. gang figure out who, which, upstanding citizen, was wearing a mask that episode, tell us. I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear why that's your favorite. For me, it was a short story that was written. I think Conan Doyle did. It was the Ginger Army, or the Ginger Society, or something like that. It was a short story. This, in a nutshell, this guy came to them, a redheaded gentleman, something like that. He had been told to come to this address, do this work, and he'd get paid the certain amount of money. Turns out that it was all a front to, or all a ruse to be able to steal from him. So, but it was very complicated because it seemed really weird. If you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. One of my favorite podcasts, Fictional, did it in their version. So definitely go and check that out. That story, and tell me what you think. Beard, what was your favorite Sherlock case?
My favorite Sherlock case is actually a new one, and it's not technically a Sherlock case, but it is in the Sherlock universe. Enola Holmes searching for her mom, her very first case ever. And it actually was more of her discovering her own skills and surviving in the world, becoming an adult, coming of age. And I just thought that was such a great movie, and I can't wait to see what they do with the second one.
Same here. And I also cannot wait to see that actress in Stranger Things season 4. I think that's going to be amazing. Can't wait for that.
There's 2 release dates out for the 2 ways they're splitting that up, and I'm very excited for that. We'll have to do some episodes on that.
Oh yeah, we'll have to reach out to our friend Jay Marvel. I think he said he's a Stranger Things fan, and we'll check in on that. But I think that's it, brother.
We'll wrap up our talking nerdy.
Kind of talk nerdy there for a second, didn't we?
Be sure to send in your response to this week's Talk Nerdy topic, and any other nerdy stuff like episode topic suggestions, fan theories, or cosplay photos so we can put it in future episodes. If you think it's nerdy, we want you to share it. The Talk Nerdy links like the email and website are in the episode description as always. And don't forget, you can also call or text the Nerd line. That number is in the description as well. That's all for now. Let's get back to the show.
All right.
If by get back to the show, we mean wrap up the show.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for sitting down with me again, as always, brother. Enjoy being able to do this with you. Glad we're still going strong. 6 episodes into our 3rd season.
Our next episode will be a lot more lengthier than this. Hopefully not too long. We've had some long episodes recently that maybe are a little too long, so we'll try not going too crazy with it.
And we thank all of y'all that download, listen, view, all that. We thank y'all so much. Glad y'all want to be a part of the conversation. Glad y'all find us entertaining enough to listen to us, at least. So
next episode will definitely be Batman. We'll talk about that with our friend Jay, and maybe we'll get someone else.
We're also going to start scheduling more live streams and try to start doing some live episodes as well. Once some of these events kind of calm down, like I said at the top of the episode, as this is released, I'm currently at SciFicon Lake Charles. So come and see me. This is coming out on Friday in just 3-day event. So you still got 2 days to come and see me. And we're going to be raising money for charity again for Mississippi Children's Hospital. Can't wait to do that. Going to be giving away some cool decals, different stuff like that. The raffle, got some new props. Those are really cool. So definitely check those out. Our next event after that, for all of our local to the Mississippi area where I live, at Dogmud Tavern on May 4th, we're going to be doing, and happy birthday, Dogmud. For the first
for the win.
Yeah, the 1-year birthday is actually April 1st, which is today, the day that this is releasing. So happy birthday. Sorry I couldn't be there. But yeah, Chib Nips for the win for that. We're going to be doing May 4th, Star Wars Day. We're going to have cosplayers from the 501st Legion there judging our costume contest. We're going to be doing trivia. We're raffling off a holocron straight from Galaxy's Edge down in Walt Disney World with 3 lightsaber crystals to be able to interact with that, all for Children's Mississippi. Then we're going to do July 31st. We're going to be doing Harry Potter's birthday. Same thing, costume contest, trivia, and I have the prize right here, actually. We're going to be raffling off this snitch clock, golden snitch clock.
Very nice.
And we're going to be raffling off a wizard chess set, which is not down here, actually. So, but it is a wizard chess set. Yeah, it's actually nothing. So, but definitely come and check that out. We'll be doing trivia for that as well. And then our big con coming up in June. Mississippi Comic-Con.
Very excited for that.
We are trying to still get Brian down here. Where I'm starting to think we need to start a GoFundMe or something to get you down here. I swear. But we are working on it. And if he's not living down here by then, he will be here for that con. So definitely,
I will be flying down one way or another. I will sell my car if it means I wouldn't actually do that.
Yeah,
it's.
And we have a bunch of other events later on in the year as well,
Absolutely.
but no point in bringing those up just yet, because the big one is going to be Mississippi Comic-Con. In the meantime, I guess it's time to get out of here. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I've been the Bear.
Watch out for Batman. Yeah, I've been the Beard.
And we want to remind you, as always, to stay awesome,
stay bearded,
and much love, y'all. We will see y'all next time. Until then, guess what? We are out of here.
Boom, cut the check.
All right.
Another episode done. We hope you enjoyed it. New episodes are released every other Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Check back then or subscribe so that your device downloads it automatically. Audio episodes are now available pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, so it's really easy to share them with all your nerdy friends. For YouTube viewers, subscribe and click the little bell so you're notified about all our new content. And Apple users, please don't forget to rate and review on the app. That helps more nerds find us. Links to talk nerdy to us can be found in the episode description as always. You can chat with the Bear, the Beard, or the rest of the Bearded Bear team, head researcher and graphic designer, Mama Bear, the master of marketing, Han Bralo, or the social media sorcerer, Nerd Squatch. Huge thanks to them and all of the geeks of the round table and friends of the cast. Much love y'all. Lastly, for more cool music like this awesome new outro track, go check out Harlequin Soul, Secret Apex on Facebook and Spotify. His links are in the description as well. Talk at you next episode, nerds. See you then.
Are you a fan or just pretend? I'd like to know if you're a friend or an enemy. If so, stay away from wrong. Welcome to the